Continue on here through Facebook and Thomas Hendrickson. Kind of a question you touched upon a little bit as far as players, but I'll go through it quickly here for you. What players are you going to stay, or what players do you see staying in Springfield for next year? Which ones do you see going elsewhere? You kind of hit that a little bit early on.
I'll take a little different twist on it too, that fans may not be realizing that there is talk, and I only say talk, of being a National Hockey League labor stoppage next year, similar to what we had in 2004, I think it was. So if there's an NHL work stoppage, which sort of the people I talk to say they think there will be, which is unfortunate for the game, but that's certainly beyond my control. If there is an NHL work stoppage, then the type of players we may have in Springfield may change a little bit. And by that I mean, if you remember back in 2004, Portland had Getzlaff, Perry, and Penner, and they dominated the American Hockey League, and all those guys have gone on to tremendous NHL careers. So if there is an NHL lockage, work stoppage, then I would think you are more apt to have the Matt Calverts and the Cam Atkinsons and the Kubaliks, who are guys who are certainly on the bubble or could make the big club. Johnny Moore, David Savard, who are all in their contracts. More than likely, and I don't want to be held to this because it's up to Columbus, but more than likely they would play here in Springfield because there's not going to be any NHL. Certainly, if there's not an NHL lockout, then those guys will have a great opportunity to make the Columbus Blue Jackets. So a lot of things are going to be interesting, what develops both at the NHL management side of things and with us as well as we approach free agency.
Sure. Lance Koski has a couple questions here back to back, and we'll start with the first one here with Lance. Without using the words call-ups and injuries, where do you think the team didn't meet expectations this year?
Wow. Well, it's a tough question. We didn't meet expectations in a number of areas. I think I've already touched on them. We weren't able to sustain any kind of long winning streak to get us to where we need to be. We lost. I think the biggest problem, I've said this before, I guess I'll say it again, is we left too many points on the table early in the season. I can think of 4 or 5 points against Connecticut alone that, the what if we had have come away with more points in those games when we were right there, games we just lost late in the season. You get into a habit, unfortunately, where you lose a game in October, November. It's a game you should have won, you outplayed the team, or you coughed up a bad goal late that cost you a point. And you get into the habit of saying, well, it's only October, November. But if you look back now, those points that we left on the table early in the season or at the halfway mark of the season would have been very nice to have in the second half of the season. It would have put us into a playoff spot. So, there's a lot of things that we just have to tighten up and realize that every single game is important. We have to put a winning streak together, and I think more and develop that sort of, what I'd like to develop is that toughness at home. And I don't mean physical toughness, but we didn't come out, in my eyes, at enough home games with the swagger that this is our building, it's going to be tough to play in. And we let other teams sometimes dictate the play a little bit too much, and then we react rather than being proactive. And, we had a great, as you know, home record there near the end. Numbers better than I do, but it was like 12-1-1 over 14 games, something like that at the end of the season. But we need a little more consistency and a little more winning at home in the first half of the season.
Absolutely. And Lance, second question here goes a little bit on the business side here about promotions. And what promotions did you see go right this year? Which ones did you see not go so well?
Every promotion has a reason. We just, as you know, we spent a lot of time, and we're going to spend a heck of a lot more time going forward on promotions and what works and what doesn't work. So every promotion we do is done with a purpose. And I don't look at any of them as not being successful. They're all successful for different reasons. Some of them help drive revenue, which should be the number one reason why we do a promotion, whether it can drive group sales or it can drive a box office crowd. But some of the promotions this year we tried differently. Sean Thornton coming in was a big success. Don Orsillo bobblehead doll was a big success. Our Irish night, even though it came at a very tough time, had some success for the entertainment value. So as we go forward, as you know, next week we're going to meet Offsite, and we're going to attack every aspect of our operation, and we're going to focus a lot of time on promotion, because Charlie and I have talked about this at length, that we're in the entertainment business, and we can't control what happens when the pucks drop. But what we can control is ramping up promotions and doing those kinds of things that may draw additional people, or that at least entertains the people that are here. So a lot of good promotions this year, and I can assure fans there's going to be more next year.
Sure, that Offsite meeting is one of those where you wish you could bring the camera in there and let people just see what exactly is said, because the amount I mean, that's a full day, and the analyzation that goes in. I think most people understand it, but I think sometimes I don't know if everyone grasps just how much time and thought is put into it.
Well, I think that's a good point, and we know what goes through all the decisions that are made here. We sort of make some decisions by the full team. I mean, by team, I mean our staff. And that's what we're going to do next week. Charlie is coming in for it. He's flying up from Jupiter. He's going to be a part of that meeting and share his ideas, and we're going to be open and discuss every aspect of our operation. And it's actually going to go all day Tuesday, and it'll go into a half day Wednesday when we more go into the sales mode and break down our sales operation a little bit and some of the things we need to do better there. So fans have to understand everything we do at the games, and again, it's very subjective. Some fans like this, some fans like this, so you're never going to please everybody, but we do put a lot of thought and work and time into everything that we do.
With that said, I'm not bringing the camera in, so I know I'm going to get questions on that. So hypothetical. Yeah, that was a hypothetical. John Leroy, the next individual with a question here through the Facebook on today's agenda. First of all, I want to thank yourself and Charlie for just a great season and a step in the right direction. John, the diehard season ticket holder, has been around a long time. And he brings up a great topic here that I'm glad he did about the jersey promotion giveaway that we're doing with season ticket holders. They had up until April 14th to put a deposit down. He's curious to see how much of a result that jersey has produced so far, as we just went past that deadline last weekend.
It was very good. We stole that idea. Again, the great thing about the American Hockey League, you get together in meetings, and you have marketing meetings and PR meetings and governors meetings, but you share ideas all the time. The league's always sharing ideas with everybody, what works in some cities. So we stole that idea from San Antonio, and 3 or 4 other teams in Portland have been doing it. So we decided we wanted to do something that has worked in other cities, and it has worked well here. It did what it would need to do. We stimulated the response. So a lot of people who were thinking of coming on board decided to put the deposit down so they could get the jersey. It's a great looking jersey, and it's something I think it was so successful that I'd be shocked if we didn't do it another year as well going forward. So it really did what it had to do. It got people thinking about next year and putting their deposit down, which helps us for cash flow. I'm not afraid to admit that. It gets some dollars in the bank. It allows us, because when the season ends, our cash flow ends pretty much because there's no revenue coming in other than from sponsorship bills, that kind of thing. So I thought it worked very well, and I think people really, the feedback we're getting, Damon, was fantastic. That people love the concept, and I think they're going to love the jersey when they get them as well.
Absolutely. Damon Markowitz along with Bruce Landon, staying along the topics here from Facebook through this week's weekly webisode, presented by DK's Hockey and Lacrosse, 1 Prior Road, down at the Enfield Twin Rinks, as Bruce and I chat from the Mass Mutual Center inside the Birthday Room, right here on a beautiful day, right outside on Falcons Way, here in downtown Springfield. And I want to stay with John. He's got another question here that I don't want to miss. Talking about Manny legacy, and something that you actually talk a little bit about as far as being a goalie coach. His question there is, if Manny doesn't come back as a player, do you see him being a goalie coach in Springfield or some organization someday?
Well, I know he gave his resume to myself and to Chris McFarland. Manny sort of made it sort of clear he's going to prepare in the off season as to be a player. But he knows he's 39 as well, and he's got to start looking at life beyond playing goal. So he'd like to become a goalie coach. When I looked at his resume, it's very impressive. It's going to be tough to find a goalie who wants to be a goalie coach who has the resume that he has, as far as not so much coaching yet, but he's been a winner wherever he's been. I mean, tremendous, right? I mean, I think everywhere he's been, his save percentage was always above 90. His goals against average was low. He's won a Baz Bastien Award for the best goaltender. He's won a Stanley Cup. He's been successful in everything he's done. He's ran goalie clinics. He had one in Springfield. He's run them in St. Louis, I believe, in Detroit. And he's got a personality that I think young goaltenders would like. He can be serious when he has to be, but he can loosen things up as well. So I think he understands the technical part of the game, certainly, and he understands the mental part of the game that's so important for goaltenders. So as far as here in Springfield, we had a great goalie coach here in Mike Buckley, who does a fantastic job working with the Paul Daytons and the Mike Clementis and the Alan Yorks when they're here, and also spent a little time with Manny. And of course in Columbus they have Ian Clark, who's their goaltending coach up there, who's under contract. So I doubt very much whether it be for Springfield, but things can happen over the long haul here.
Manny will have a job in hockey at some point.
I think so.
There's no question about that. Next question from Sean Newbury. It's about the coaching. And are there any names that you could even throw out there that are in the hunt right now, or is it too early in the process for that?
No, it wouldn't be fair to to the coaches that are out there. Certainly when the news went public about Rob not coming back, I received probably 7 calls myself or emails already. I know Chris McFarland, I spoke to him yesterday, he's had a number. I've had a couple agents that have called me who represent a couple guys who are currently working. There certainly won't be a shortage of candidates, but to mention names right now wouldn't be fair. There's a lot of guys who are probably very worthy candidates who are still coaching either in the AHL or ECHL or the NHL that might look at this as a position they'd like to apply for.
And fans that know the history of our franchise, I'm sure will be throwing out names, but we'll keep those quiet for now.